right, guys, check it out. This video you're about to watch is going to be an interview in the Valentine show. I had a great time doing this. Check out the channel. This dude is just fantastic, and he puts a lot of political videos. He put videos about a lot of great topics, in my opinion. I really had a great time. I appreciate him inviting me. And again, we're going to be talking about getting a gun for the first time. This is very basic. This is just as basic as it goes. I know some of you guys are salty dog, and you've been doing this for quite some time. But if you have any, feedback or anything like that, make sure you put it down in the comment section below. Appreciate you guys' support, and as always, God is in control.
Welcome back to the Valentine Show, guys. I'm your host, Valentine. Expecting you guys are having a wonderful and blessed day. One of the most important videos ever to be done on this channel is going to happen today. With me, I have a veteran of the armed forces, a person that I have followed on YouTube for a couple of years. He has no clue because I followed him and see his content and love his content, love his message and where he's coming from. A Christian man like me and like a lot of you guys out there. Welcome to the Valentine Show, Mr. His name on YouTube is Jarhead6. His name is Mr. Fabian. Fabian, thank you so much for being with us today. How you doing today, my brother?
Good, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, and I just love being being here and being in this conversation.
Yeah, today we are going to be talking about. There's a lot of civil unrest. There's a lot of politics. There's a lot of craziness going on in the United States. This has literally forced a lot of people who were not previously interested in acquiring a firearm to be considering one because of the political atmosphere, because the attacks on the cops, because the cops, instead of the bad guys being arrested and handcuffed, now literally the officers are being handcuffed and arrested, and they're not able to do their jobs. The Second Amendment, which is the amendment that gives us the freedom to buy guns and protect ourselves, is under attack. Just recently, an attorney general of New York has done a lawsuit against the NRA, the National Rifle Association, because they want to disband them. So there's a lot of increased hostility towards people with guns and the Second Amendment. I'm not apologetic about this, all coming from the left, all coming from the Democratic Party. Today, what we're going to address is the beginner firearm buyer, a woman, a person maybe like me, and a person that has no idea what is the difference between a shotgun, the most feared gun of all, an AR-15, which is not, a pistol, or a wheel gun, also a revolver, and what should I buy for home defense? Something that I should keep at home. Why should I carry with me on a daily basis, etc., etc., etc. I'm gonna be playing the beginner guy. Mr. Fabian here is gonna be the gun expert. But before we get started, Mr. Fabian, could you tell us a little bit about your experience with gun, your service to the United States Armed Forces?
Yeah, man, for sure. I mean, I served in the Marine Corps for 11 years, 5 months, and 20 days to be exactly. I made it to the rank of Staff Sergeant, which it was amazing. I loved the Marine Corps, but at one point I got hurt and I had to have some surgery, and you know what? I had to get out, and I don't regret it. I miss it sometimes, but I was a military police, so did a couple of deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan, so I saw some bad things. But here we are, talking about the good Lord. Amen. And talking about the right to protect yourself. You have that right. It's biblical. Get into arguments with people about this all the time, but it's biblical. Yeah. God doesn't want you to die or be killed by somebody. God wants you to protect your family. So that's something that it's always mind blowing from a Christian man. I don't know where in the Bible.
That's a taboo in Christianity that says that Christian men should not have guns and they should leave it up to the Lord. No, Joshua 1:9 says, be strong and courageous. You have to put the human effort also into protecting yourself and your family.
And we got to remember that the good Lord is the God of action. He wants us to, he wants us to take action. A lot of times we say we're praying about this. No, God is the God of action. Do something about it.
Big
So,
time, big time. I think that's lacking in Christianity a lot today. But let's get into the
yep.
store. I am going into right now, Mr. Fabian. I just opened the door of Jarhead's Firearms. I'm going in, and you are wait for me at the door. I say to you, listen, what type of firearm, Mr. Fabian, will you recommend for me for home defense? Meaning a firearm that I have in my house exclusively. What would you recommend?
Well, I want to kind of take a step back first.
Okay.
First of all, buying a gun is a serious deal.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like nowadays with the video games, with YouTube, with all this stuff, people get into the cool things, and I got some rifles here that are, very cool. Look at this rifle. This rifle is as cool as you can,
Wow.
this is nice. And
That's
this thing is
amazing.
actually a lot of, I probably got about over $1,000 in here, right? Easy, maybe 1,300-1,400 bucks. But there's a cool factor, but we got to realize that guns,
Man. I'm excited just looking at them, man. And we're thousands of miles away, and I'm excited just at looking at them. But that's what you're talking about, the cool factor.
yeah,
But it's not a game. This is not a game.
yeah,
This is something
it's
serious.
not a game. And and guns are, I like guns, right? There's a reason why I got so many. I like the sport of shooting. I like the sport of there's nothing more exciting of hitting a target at 200 yards or 300 yards. It's exciting, but at the same time we got to remember guns are a very dangerous thing. And we
Yes.
got to take precautions, because if we don't and somebody gets hurt, you become something that I call the inside threat. So you bring one of those guns to the house, and there is a gun you brought into the house.
Yeah.
So you got to protect your children. And obviously, if you're looking, I know in your state, you guys, I don't think you guys carry guns in New York, but in Florida, everybody has a gun.
Yeah.
So if you find yourself in a confrontation, you got to realize that there is a gun. You have it. You get what I'm saying? There's always a gun. You have one. And how many times we see in the news, some crazy dude with a gun takes the gun out, and next thing you know, something bad happens. So again, you misrepresent the Second Amendment,
All the
and
time,
you just,
sadly.
you're gonna get in trouble and go to jail for no reason. So again, realize that guns are a needed thing that you may want to have if you're a law-abiding citizen, if you're a person that could purchase guns to protect your family. But you have to have something in place. You see behind me, I got a safe right there. That safe right there holds my guns. And I got kids. I got 3 kids. I got one that is 3.5. Obviously, he doesn't understand weapons education. My 16 and my 12, I could tell them about guns. I could show them my guns. I could educate them about my guns, but you can't do that with a 3-year-old. You know what I'm saying?
Of course not. Of course not.
So, he doesn't understand. So before we even make the decision, we're going to get a gun. We need to make the decision of realizing this is something that could potentially save my family or could potentially hurt my family. So I need to put in my plan of buying the gun, I need to put, maybe I need to buy a safe, or maybe, maybe you're a single guy, you live by yourself, and you don't have nobody, in your house, and it's okay. You have the gun on you, you put it in the night table, you put it on you, night table you, and that's fine. But if you have kids and things like that, we gotta realize that. And also, knowing the law. How many guys go to jail for not knowing the law? People pull the guns out, they get in trouble, and people don't get training. So a lot of times guys spend $500 on a pistol, and then you don't know how to use this pistol, and that's dangerous right there. You know what I'm saying? So you need to make that commitment as well.
So the first step into getting a gun is actually thinking about the safety part of it and the training part of it also, how to use this tool, because that's what it is, a tool, and how to keep it safe.
Right. And I'm never going to concur. Some people get into like, oh, the state should mandate this. Listen, the state mandates so many things already. We're good on the state mandating things. Like, is insane. Like now we're hearing that in California you can't sing in churches because the state is mandating nonsense. But you know what I'm saying? But you need to make that decision as a man, because you want to protect your family, or as a lady, you want to protect your family, and you got to be able to know the law, and you got to be able to know what you're doing. I remember it had to be a few years ago. There was a lady who used to watch a channel, and she said, I never thought about getting a gun into. I drove in my driveway, and a guy pulled a car and sexually assaulted me on the side
Wow.
of my house, right there next to my driveway. So, when we do these videos, we realize that there's people out there actually watching.
Yeah.
They are looking for this information
Yes.
because, you know what I'm saying? They're going through some crazy stuff that, that's just crazy, right? So, I mean, there's many types of different guns, right?
For home
and you asked
defense,
me about
about the
for
home
home
defense,
defense,
yes, something that's gonna be a home defense. What do you
right?
recommend? What is on the top of
So
you?
home defense, let's say, I mean, it always come back depends, right? Because here's the thing, budget, money, it has a lot to do with that. When I
Mm-hmm.
came back from when I got out of the deployment, I don't think I had too much money, and I wanted to buy something for home defense,
Mm-hmm.
and I bought a shotgun, and it was a shiny shotgun, and I had it in the safe. I haven't let me push it out, but I haven't taken it out in like forever. It was in the back of the safe, but it was this thing right here.
Okay.
And I mean, I put this stock, and I put this, I think it's called a tack star.
Mm-hmm.
You put rounds in there, and I put a slim and things, but this thing was like $200. You know
So,
what I'm saying?
so explain to
So,
us what is a shotgun? What is like? What does it shoot? Why do they call it a shotgun? What does it shoot?
so a shotgun usually, what I like about a shotgun that is a
Mm-hmm.
very versatile tool. You could use this for home defense. I mean, this thing costs some damage. It shoots a 12 gauge typically. You could get it on, I believe, 16 gauge, if I'm correctly. I mean, it's different types of gauges. I'm more familiar with the 12 gauge
Mm-hmm.
because it's the one that I usually use. 12 gauge is pretty much the most popular out there. But I mean, again, you could use different rounds. The 12 gauge has different rounds. And if you go to the stores, you have self-defense round, turkey lows.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you name it.
So,
So
what
the
is it?
round is,
What is the round? What is inside of that? Because it's like a little. A lot of people seen it's like a little red cartridge. And what is inside of that round?
I mean, literally, it depends what you and I took all these guns. I knew I was gonna forget something. I should have brought a 12 gauge round, but it depends which one you buy. So you
Mm-hmm.
have birdshot, which is like a bunch of little pellets, very very small in the inside.
Mm-hmm.
You have like different ones that have 7. You have some that have a slug that is just a
Oh,
big piece of metal.
exactly. Like
Right,
so, like
coming
one big
towards you.
bullet. So basically, so when you shoot the shotgun, if it's the little ones, the little pellets inside, basically it spreads and
It basically is spread, right?
and it covers a bigger field.
It covers a bigger field, but it's not like you see in the movie. Sometimes people think that you shoot and it's going to be huge. It's not going to be like that. And again, some of the shotguns, like this one doesn't have it, but they have some chokes and things like that you can adjust that spread
Okay.
as well. So, and again, some shotguns, like this is a home defense shotgun right here,
Mhm.
right? So pretty much for home defense. This is like an 18-inch barrel. I believe it's like an 18.
Okay.
But you could change the barrel. Some
Okay.
people have a shotgun that is for home defense,
Uh-huh.
and then they have a longer barrel for hunting and things like that. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it gives you that flexibility that you could go from home defense to hunting if
How-
you want to do that,
How
right?
many rounds could some of these take around roughly? Like how rounds? And when we talking about rounds, it means for the people that don't know, is like how many. Basically, you could call them bullets. But how many rounds would this take?
Well, this one, oh man, I got so
Roughly, like what? Like 10?
I think no, this one holds about 6. I want to
6?
say, and again, the tube is right here. The bottom portion right here, this part right here is the tube, and I think this one holds about 6. But again, the rounds is different size of rounds. So if you
Mhm.
buy a smaller one, you'll
You
be
could
able
fit
to
more.
fit more. You also could extend the tube right here to have like an extension, like a plus 2 and things like that.
Uh-huh.
So what I'm saying is that you could buy something like this that is $200 and allows you to grow. You could hook it up a little bit. You could
Mm.
you could trick it out a little bit. Like I say, you could put a plus 2, and you could do a lot of stuff to a shotgun. Obviously, you could put an optic if you want to. People do that as well, and things like that. I mean, this gun right here, to tell you the truth, for my personal liking
Mhm.
or I barely use it. Like I say, it was in the back of my gun safe, and I
Uh-huh.
haven't taken it out in years. I should make sure that it works.
Okay.
But again, this gun right here for me is not my home defense firearm although it could be if I want to. You know what I'm saying? It was at one point.
Okay, what else do you recommend? What other type of rifle would you recommend for home defense?
So here's the thing about this shotgun right here, though. A lot of times you find it really cheap, and again, I said the budget. So for $200, some people are tend to buy a shotgun because you may get something that is more reliable than a pistol. If you buy a pistol for $20, you may not be able to, you know what I'm saying, to get something as reliable as a shotgun.
And it's something for $200, a $200 shotgun, which is nothing. Is that a reliable firearm, something that you could rely on?
So we go back to like this is I guess a question that a lot of people say. Well, how much is your family's value to you? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I mean, in that point, at that particular situation of my life, that's what I had, and I wanted to get a gun to protect my family. And again, that's what I have. We don't know people's where they at financially right now. Right now, obviously, like I say, I have so many guns since then that I don't even use that shotgun no more. It's in the back of the safe. I took it out just because you asked me, and I really don't have any other shotguns. But again, there, and two, some states is easier for you to buy a rifle than buying a pistol too.
Yeah,
so that's something that you got to keep in mind. You get what I'm saying?
There's a friend of mine who lives in Maryland, and he told me that you don't even need a you don't need a permit to get a rifle. You could just go get it, and that's it, basically. So that's something else that you have to take into account, which is depending on the state where you live, what are the laws regarding where you live at?
Right. And again, when I bought the shotgun coming out of the military, the section that I was in North Carolina, they require you like extra paperwork as you were out of the military for pistols and cells. So I decided just to go with a shotgun because I needed something to have in the house. Right. But I mean, there is some shotguns out there that are $400, $500. There are, Remington 870, the Mossberg 590 is the one that the military had.
That's the one that I've heard. The Mossberg one is a brand that I've heard, and it's a reliable one.
Yeah, well, the Mossberg 500 is a great shotgun. The 590 is the one, I believe, is the one that the military won the contract. I think we carried those in Iraq back in 2004.
Wow.
But I really can't remember. But again, shotguns are great. If you're looking for a gun, just it's just a great gun to have. But when it comes down to like pistols, because this is actually a pistol that I like a lot. So this right here is a ZZP07, and I'm gonna tell you, I love this pistol. And as you can see, this pistol is a little bit more tricked out. Like this pistol is actually suppress ready, so it has here to put a suppress. Now I don't own any suppressors, but obviously that's something that this pistol have. It has sights that are elevated, so this one's a little bit more into not just your normal pistol, right? But a little bit more checked out. But what I like about a pistol, first of all, me personally, I would look for a pistol that has a good reputation, and that's coming down to any guns. Good reputation will be my first thing if I have the money. Obviously, like I said, the shotgun, I only had $200 when I did that many years ago. But if I have the money, good reputation, a pistol that have a good capacity, always being something that I need to have, because
so that one, for example, what does that have? What's the capacity on that?
This one right here has 17 rounds because I actually has a +2. And what I put so many things out here. Okay, I don't know where I put the mag. So this one, right here. So you see, this is the magazine right here, right? So it has actually a +2 round extension right there. And as you can see, those rounds are home defense, personal defense rounds. So again, this pistol right here, which by the way, all these guns has been clear just because, we're making videos. And a lot of times people tell you, oh, the gun is clear. Yeah, I'm I got the guns here. I want to make sure they're clear. So, but again, this pistol right here, like I said, being clear, and it's just a great gun. 17 rounds, great reputation, a pistol that I have used many times. That's something else. If you buy a gun, you want to make sure that it works, right? And to me, one important factor is this rail right here. And the reason why is because you could put a weapon slide. So in this gun right now, actually my gun that I carry for home defense, which is in in the location in the other side of the house, I have my weapons light on that gun, right? So
and why do you
again,
choose to put a weapons light on there?
well, you got to think about this. You got to be able to see the target. If you can't see the target, you know what I'm saying? You can't shoot something you can't see. And more importantly, you want to make sure that it's actually a bad guy and it's actually a threat to you.
So you're imagining a waking up late in the middle of the night, not having time to turn on no lights or anything like that. You want to make sure that your gun or your weapon has a light on it. That way you could identify the bad guy.
Right. And again, you know, there's a lot of dilemma. People usually argue about this. Some people argue about, you know, handheld versus a weapons light, right? But you got to think about this. When it comes to like home defense, you ain't carrying this gun. You know, this is not your gun typically that you're going to carry every single day. So because you're not going to carry it, it doesn't matter if it's really heavy or not. You know what I'm saying? You have it in your night table, you have it in your safe, and you're going to grab it in case something bad happened. So again, the weight and things like that to me is not a concern, because what it comes to a concern for my concealed carry gun, and my concealed carry gun is a total different weapon.
Which is, and let me explain that to the people, Fabian. There's a difference between a gun that you will have in your home, which might be a larger gun and maybe a little bit cumbersome or uncomfortable to conceal carry it on your person. We are going to get into what type of what type of guns would you carry on your person? Because for the most part, you want to have something that not smaller and not necessarily that people will see that you have a gun on you. And that's why you're saying that you have this gun, which is a little bit bigger, a little bit more cumbersome, but it does carry 17 rounds of, what is that, 9mm?
Yeah, in my choice, that's 9mm. That's what I decided too. But obviously, you got 40, you got 45 caliber, and you know, people, whatever caliber tickles you, you know what I'm saying?
Caliber, it means the size of the gun. There's bigger ones, there's smaller ones. But for example, that way, you know, a lot of the police officers in the United States carry 9mm. 9mm is a very popular round, and around that you could find it in a lot of places. So that's something for you to consider. But it's a good choice to have a 9mm weapon. So you have those. So you were saying something else?
Yeah, so I mean, again, you know, for a pistol, for me, it's just good reputation, good capacity, because you don't know how many people are going to be there. You know, from some of the videos that we do, we typically see multiple people, you know, attacking a house.
Yes, that's definitely true.
So 17 rounds, you know, obviously spare magazines and things like that, and a weapons light and your handheld. And there's people get into dilemmas about this all the time, about the weapons light versus actually a handheld light. And it's really not a dilemma. You know, you can have both, you know. Obviously, if I have a weapons light and I turn this light on and I'm shining down a hallway or something, I may be, and I'm thinking, you know, my kid is coming inside the house. You may be flagging your kid. So I always say, well, have both, you know. Again, you're going to put this gun in your night table or in a little safe. There's no reason, or, you know, you can, let's not argue about it. Have both.
Exactly.
You know?
I mean, it's not a problem. But I know that sometimes in the gun community, it's a problem for some of us to very little things sometimes become big issues for no reason. Like you said, just have both. Is there another weapon? Is there another rifle that you would recommend for home defense?
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. The basic guy. Here's the thing. The basic guy with these guns, they're usually fine. You know, a lot of guys like we talk about the beginner. You know, a lot of guys usually introduce themselves to guns with a shotgun, and then usually introduce themselves to a pistol. I think that there is a big difference between before we get to that AR. There is a big difference between a shotgun and a rifle, and I usually recommend people to get a pistol first. And the reason why is because this thing right here is something that obviously you can conceal. So here's the thing that I'm trying to say. Let's say something happens, right? Let's say here in the state of Florida, something happened and you need to move or you need to leave your house. It will be very difficult for you to live with a shotgun. I mean, you're going to give away that gray man concept. People are going to know you have a gun. If you walk around with a gun, people will be like, what is wrong with that guy with a gun? So when you get a pistol, it's very easy for you to like to say something like, all right, there's an incident, something happened, I need to move out of my house. I could bring a gun with me, I could put it in my car. Obviously there's some legal stuff there. Some states, when it goes into like emergency,
Mm-hmm.
state of emergency, some states allow you to conceal carry. So
Okay.
knowing the law and being able to transport yourself with a pistol is just way easier than having a shotgun and things like that. So I always think that a pistol is something that you could use for multiple different applications
So you will
versus a shotgun.
recommend for the beginner, here, if they're gonna get just one gun, just one, to get a
Mhm.
pistol.
Yeah. I mean, again, we're going into the people argue about this, but to me, yeah, because it's just easier. It's easier to have a pistol. It's easier, in my opinion, just as an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to shoot this gun. It is more friendly for more people. It's not the same thing getting this big rifle than getting this gun. Right now, we're talking about tactics. If I go down, do my wife know how to use this rifle? Right.
Makes
A
perfect
shotgun
sense.
may look, yeah, a shotgun may look easy to me and you, and be like, yeah, no brainer. But the guy that have no idea may be like, what is this? I don't even know how to use this. A pistol, people are usually more familiar. People usually use it just easier.
Mm-hmm.
But like I say, is something happened, you could put it in your truck and you could drive out and still protect your family, right?
And go, and you still have 17 rounds of
And you
ammo,
still have 17 rounds
which
and
is
all that
plenty,
stuff.
plenty.
So, and again, we're talking about like something really bad happened, and we see in the riots or something like that, your house gets attacked and you have to walk out of your house. Think about this.
Mhm.
You're going with your wife and 2 kids. You think you're walking out with a shotgun? People are going to be looking at you. People are going to be like, what is that guy? You're going to lose that gray man concept. But if you have a pistol, you could put it in your holster. You could walk out and you could still maintain that, low
Calm,
profile.
and as a matter of fact, and thank God that because you have to speak to people like you that have a different view, or have a more of a experienced view, because it does make sense. Let's say you do have to leave your house and you do have that pistol on you, or you have that, let's say you have that shotgun. It makes you a target also.
Yeah.
Because they're like, okay, what is this person doing with this rifle out here? That he did something bad? Do even the other bad guys now? Okay, we gotta attack the person who has the gun. I mean, it just makes you pop out like a sore thumb. I mean, it just makes you pop out, and it makes 100% perfect sense.
Remember, the best firefight, the best way to win a firefight is not getting yourself in a firefight. So if you could keep a low profile, that's the best thing you could do.
100%. Let's get now to that black weapon, the most feared weapon, the scariest weapon ever on the history of the internet, on the history of the politicians. This is, explain to us what this is. How does it fire? What is the different they call it? Is this an assault rifle, as they call it?
I mean, the first thing we got to know is that guns don't kill people. People do.
Facts.
That's a fact. I mean, look, I got several guns around here. I mean, I'll talk to them. I'll tell them to relax. But so far,
they're behaving.
So far, we're doing good.
I like them. I'm gonna invite them next time for the show too. Those guns are doing perfectly good, man. I love these hosts. These guests. I mean,
but AR-15. I mean, by the assault weapon, there's a definition there. We know that the AR-15 doesn't meet that definition. I don't know exactly how the entire definition goes, so I don't want to go into that. But to me, it's just a great rifle, because this rifle, and I say many times, this is a rifle that I recommend anybody to have. First of all, it's a lot of fun. People forget that. This rifle is a lot of fun. If you ever go shooting an AR-15, you're going to have a blast. I go shooting with people, and people are like, wow, it's so much fun. It's not as scary as people see it in the internet. Doesn't kick that much. It's just a fun rifle to shoot. But obviously, you have a magazine. In free states, you have your 30-round magazine that is standard. It's not high capacity. It's standard magazine. And you shoot a 5.56. Now, nowadays, they have so many different calibers that you could get in different caliber. But the pretty much the popular one is the 223 5.56.
Okay.
Right. That's pretty much what the military has, the 5.56. Nowadays they have it in weird stuff, but 5.56 is a standard. But again, the thing about rifles is that you're more accurate way more accurate. And typically it's because there's more, I think they call it, and again, I'm not such an expert, but I think they call it 3-point contact. So essentially you have it here in your shoulder, you have this contact, and you have this contact. So this right here, you can see it allows you to have a fantastic stable position compared to a pistol, right? Where you have a pistol, you know, this thing right here will get you tired eventually. And little movements makes a difference. So again, you know, a rifle, it's just easy to shoot because you have that good standard precision. You have good control. You know, you could hold it really well. Usually you could put things like optics. This optic right here is Trigicon MRO, I believe. Yeah, MRO. And again, this is a great optic, and it's a red dot. So what I'm doing right here is that I'm looking through the optic. I got a little red dot, and essentially it's very simple. Put the red dot where I want to shoot and, you know, engage. Now there is some stuff that we got to do with the optic called a VCO, and we have to set up the optic to the rifle and things like that. But once it's in place, it's just a very, very easy rifle to shoot, right? I got this one. This rifle is actually my wife, and this rifle right here is mine. You can see just a little bit of difference. Like again, you know, you could set it up kind of how you want to. Different stock there, different optics. This is
because that's the thing.
Different...
They're really highly customizable.
Right. And again, you know, it's just one of those things that you could buy them, and little by little you could make it your own. You see this one right here has a flashlight, right? So now, again, I could do that for home defense, and now I could turn my light to identify the bad guy. But the thing about this rifles, man, to tell you the truth, is that it allows you. This is a rifle that you could use to protect your family, no doubt about it. But again, you know, there's some training that you got to take in consideration, because the way you move with a rifle in a house is not the same way you move with a pistol in a house. Obviously, this is longer. You're going to be doing some tactics, some movement. But again, this is a little bit more advanced kind of stuff, but at the same time, it's not scary. You know what I'm saying?
So let me ask you this. Is this basically the military rifle besides the fully automatic part?
Pretty much. Now, there is obviously the military rifle.
And when you give your answer, explain to the people, how does this shoot, the whole semi-automatic thing, what this is. But before you answer that, for the people that are here, please give it a like, please give it a comment. It always helps out when you guys do this stuff. We need to share, because YouTube is not helping us share. So you guys got to give a comment, give a like, subscribe, do all that stuff. We're going to get into his channel in a few. So explain to us that whole shooting situation, when there's a lot of confusion with politicians, the whole semi-automatic. Does this rifle shoot? You press the trigger and you could basically empty out the magazine, or you need to one pull, one bullet.
One pull, one round, man. Okay, and the thing about it is that obviously the media makes it look different, but this rifle shoots the same way that this pistol pretty much shoots.
So basically, that pistol is a semi-automatic pistol.
Basically.
So it's a
semi-automatic pistol.
Our revolver is also basically considered a semi-automatic weapon, because once you fire, it reloads again.
Yeah, the cylinder moves. So every time you put the trigger and this little revolver here, every time the cylinder will move around. So essentially it's different than a shotgun. Now a shotgun, this pump, I mean, there's semi-automatic shotguns, but this is a pump shotgun. So if I fire, when I fire a round, that pump is going to be released, and then I could do that. So what I just did here, you know, manually with my hand, is what, because that's a pump shotgun, is what the rifle would do by himself.
Okay, so that's why they call it semi-automatic.
Semi-automatically. So as I push the trigger, around, there's going to be an explosion that is going to happen here. A round's going to come out, and that blast is going to bring that bolt back to the rear. It's going to come forward. It's going to pick up another round, and it's going to chamber another round. And every time you pull the trigger, that's what it's going to do. Every single time you pull the trigger, a round goes off, and obviously picks up another round. So it's the same concept of this pistol, when you pull the trigger, and as you pull the trigger, obviously you're going to pull the trigger, the slide comes back, comes forward, picks up a round, chambers another round, you hear the reset, probably here, it reset, and then you could pull the trigger again, and then the same concept. That's just a semi-automatic rifle, or a semi-automatic pistol, semi-automatic rifle. So fully automatic will be if you pull the trigger and a ton of round comes out, right? And I mean, there, as far as I know, there's places that you could get those guns, but the basic person cannot get that. I mean, the amount of money that you have to pay on permits and or licenses and all that stuff is just quite ridiculous.
And at the end, you don't really need that. You don't really need it for self-defense in the home. But you were saying,
I mean, me personally, I'm not a person that would like to give away my rights or agree to many things, because we know that the entire purpose of this gun laws is to take away our guns.
Big
it's
time.
proven they're constantly attacking us. So, you know, it's kind of hard to compromise, because they always says you got to compromise. And I said, well, if I give you something, what are you giving me in return? Because what you want to give me in return is take all my guns. So, but typically in fully automatic weapons are used in, you know, combat environments to suppress a target. So you engaging a target and you put in so many rounds that allows personnel to move into a location or to flank attack and things like that. That's typically what automatic fire is used for. I don't like it, me personally. I wouldn't never use automatic fire, because we got to think about this. You're responsible for every round you shoot.
Okay.
So obviously you want to be, you know, you want to make sure that you don't hurt somebody, because it's hard to control.
And with that statement, I've heard people, and it makes perfect sense, that an AR-15 for an apartment where you have your neighbors are literally like a dry wall away from you, a AR-15 and the round that it shoots has a lot of penetration. So there's some people that do not recommend an AR-15 as a home defense weapon for an apartment. Will you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's something that I have heard as well. I probably wouldn't be, you know, to me, probably not. Probably would stick to a gun. But one thing that I would say is not so much to a pistol, but one thing that I said, don't concentrate so much on the firearm. Do a lot of research on the rounds, because there's some rounds specifically for that. You get what I'm saying? There's rounds out there that have less velocity. There's rounds right there out there that are for personal defense. So yeah, I mean, that's an argument that a lot of people get into it, you know, like, hey, don't get this, don't get that. But then again, you know, when somebody's trying to hurt your family and yourself,
you don't care.
A lot of guys are thinking about that, you know.
You're doing what you have to do to get your family safe. And I don't blame anybody for doing what they have to do to get their family safe. Let's get into this intermission. Fabian, where can the people find you? Where are you? I know you're on YouTube. Are you anywhere else? Tell the people the name of your YouTube channel. What exactly do you do on your YouTube channel? I know you've been getting into a little bit of current events on your channel, but tell them exactly what you do, where they could find you.
Yeah, well, my channel name is Jawher 6. I named the channel Jawher 6 because I was in the Marines. But if you type Jawher 6 on YouTube, I come out. And I think I do Instagram. I don't do much Instagram. I kind of stay to YouTube alone because too many social medias I can't keep up. And,
oh my God. It's a big problem, man.
But I mean, I've been doing it for 7 years, coming up now August 21st. And I'm really not an expert or anything. What I do is that I share my life. And, you know, I tell people all the time, this is not a persona. This is not something that I'm pretending to be. The channel has close to 60,000 subscribers. It's great, but I never meant to do videos to get famous or like, you know, I was just sharing my life. And apparently there's like 60,000 people that agree with my lifestyle.
I remember I found you when you had like 30,000 and you were, and not only you, but a lot of people were mad about the whole YouTube cracking down on the gun channels, and you didn't know whether you were going to continue or not. And look at this, a couple years later, you're at double that amount. So that's where they can find you.
Here's the thing, you know, YouTube is a good platform because it allows to reach a lot of people. And, you know, a lot of times people say, well, go there, go here. I think that YouTube is a great platform to talk to people out there that may need this information.
Mm-hmm.
It may be silly to some of the guys that have been around guns for a long time, but there's some guys out there that have no idea
Big
what
time.
an AR-15 is, and all they hear is that an AR-15 is used to kill kids.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? And then you see regular guys saying, no, man, I got this rifle to protect my family, you know, because we see what's going on. And, you know, one thing that I wanted to mention that I didn't mention, compare to this rifle, compared to a pistol, I say you could shoot it, you know, you could shoot a very stable platform. But remember this, you could reach and touch with this rifle, not as easy as you can reach and touch with a pistol. So at 100 yards, you could reach, you know, and touch a target very, very easy with a rifle like this. Now, is it going to be something that you need to do? Most likely, no. Never in your life you're going to need to do that. But, you know, sometimes it's good to have the ability to, you know, to do things because, again, you saw what happened in Missouri. That guy walked out with an AR-15 and people just backed up. And just the presence of that rifle let people know that that guy wasn't messing around.
Around.
You know, if he would have had the rifle,
who knows what would have happened? Well, he said that he was afraid for his life, that they were going to burn down the house and that they were going to burn with him in it. So I mean, the police didn't come. He said that he had saw like a McDonald's somewhere in Missouri burn for like 40 minutes before the cops showed up. Imagine if he didn't have that gun, waiting for the cops to show up 40 minutes. As a matter of fact, the national average of cops showing to your home is about 10 minutes. What can people do in 10 minutes in your home? I mean, 10 minutes is an eternity to wait for somebody to come to your home when you could take that power into your own hands and do it. So Jarhead 6, we were talking about that we could find you at Jarhead 6. You also do have a motorcycle channel. What's the name of the channel?
It's called Jarhead 6 Ride, and you know, I got a Road King. And I like riding motorcycles. All right. You know, I've been doing a lot of vlogs and stuff like that. It's just for fun, but it's growing on me. I mean,
all right. If you guys like motorcycle stuff, follow him there too. Let's continue here. Now let's get into everyday carry. A gun that we could carry on our persons to take to church, to take to Walmart, to take anywhere. What would you recommend for that type of weapon?
So I carry this gun right here, M&P Shield, that I've been carrying for years, and this is insane. Smith & Wesson sold like $4 million
Wow.
4 million
of those things.
I think it was like 4 million or something like that, because they were selling it for like $250. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, what a great price. I mean, this is a really nice pistol. But to me,
the main difference that you guys could see there is obviously the size compared to the CC right there. I mean, it's different, smaller.
Not only the size, if you put this next to this, I mean,
wow,
kind of hard to put it in camera. But not only the size, also the width. If you look at this gun right here, this gun is a single stock firearm, so essentially is not as thick as this one. You can see the difference right there. Let me put it side by side.
Wow, massive the difference, real massive.
So when you wear a pistol inside your pants, you got to think about this. This pistol is going to go. Let me get this holster right here, right? So this pistol is going to go inside your pants. So this leather portion, the inside back here, is going to be against your skin, right? And then your belt is going to go through here. And essentially, or you're going to click this to your belt. So essentially, the pistol is going to be inside your pants. So again, you know, having something that is so thick is just going to be really uncomfortable. So you want to carry, and I mean, again, I used to carry this when I was, I just came out of the Marine Corps, and I guess I was motivated. Now I'm not no more. I'm 40 years old. But you want to carry something that you're always going to carry. You know, I have a system that I always have. So whatever it is, I always want to have the system. And I've been carrying this gun for a while. Obviously, it's going to be a smaller gun. Obviously, it's going to have, this one carries 7 rounds. 7 rounds. So obviously, you know, 17 rounds. You already see the difference. Glock 17 carries 17 rounds. And then you see 6 right here, right? So, 7. So you already see a difference of 10 rounds. That's why this is not the best idea for home defense. But again, it's very simple and it's very easy to carry. You will have the element of surprise. The bad guy doesn't know you have a gun. And that element of surprise could be the difference between you surviving an attack or not, because he may initiate the attack, but he may not have any idea that you have a gun. And we have seen videos here where the dude with the gun is just standing by waiting. And the moment that he say, all right, I'm going to take my gun out, he actually stopped the confrontation. So again, something that you got to consider is a gun that you can carry. If you want to carry a big gun, you carry a big gun, but always carry your gun. Right?
Yeah.
So I have a gun that is small enough for me, easy to carry, easy to conceal, because once again, if you're in church and you raise your hand and your gun comes out, old lady behind you, she may flip out about it.
Old lady or a little kid might say, hey, Papi, look at that gun. He has a gun.
Yeah, he has a gun. And then people would nowadays in the news, next thing you know, is calling the cops, and now you have to explain why your gun show. So you want to have something that is very, very concealable. To me, is important, right? And you want to have a good holster. This is really important. Good holster would allow you to, conceal carry. If you see this, just to show you, compare this to this, there is a difference. This is way smaller, but now you lose that protection of that leather in the back. So this is more uncomfortable to carry. I mean, yeah, it's smaller. But if you're going to carry this all day, all this thing right here may poke you on your, in your love handles and things like that. So this right here is more comfortable because this leather protects you, right?
So you would not recommend carrying without a holster? How about those people that might want to carry it without a holster inside the waistband?
No, absolutely not, because the biggest thing on a concealed carry piece is that you want to protect that trigger. If you see here, trigger guard is protected. So what this does is that a lot of people say this, I want a gun with a safety. Well, actually the only gun that has a safety that I have is actually this one. And you see the little safety right there. And I never use the safety. I barely put it on. But what people don't understand, that more important, you want a good holster, because check this out. You see, you can't stick your finger in there and shoot the gun. So a good holster allows you to protect that trigger, and it allows you not to have some type of ND where you shoot your gun accidentally or something like that. So with no holster, now this gun is clear, obviously. So how easy would it be that something goes into the trigger, right?
Anything.
And if you pull it out of your pants or something, how easy is for you to grab that trigger and shoot yourself? And if you look at some of the safety rules, if you buy a gun, obviously, standard safety rules out there on the internet, keep your fingers straight off the trigger until you're ready to fire. You never want to put your finger in the trigger, right?
So show them that. How does that look? Show them that. Grab the gun that. So you
usually grab my gun there.
Like that before you're ready.
And again,
So talking about that lady, the couple in Missouri, I don't know if you saw with detailed, but the wife, when she had her pistol, she had that pistol, that finger inside the trigger. Did you see that? So that's actually very dangerous. If that lady would get shocked or something, that gun would be going off. So that's why he stresses to always have the gun parallel to the muzzle of the gun, and just have it like he showed it.
Well, and again, it goes back to the beginning of the video. We're talking about training and all that. I don't blame them so much, because they're just regular Americans. They never, most likely never been through any training or anything like that. But, usually they teach you things like pointing your gun down. You know what I'm saying? Like down into the ground. So if something happened, you're still facing down into the ground. The bullet would, the round would strike the floor versus striking somebody. There's many techniques out there where you are the low ready, where you're holding your gun down. And then when you go to the up ready, that means that it's about the fight, it's about to start. Then, you're about to shoot, you pull your finger on the trigger. But
so how would you get this, because this is a pistol, and we're going to get into revolvers right now after this. But how do you get this pistol? How do you chamber around, and how do you get it to fire? What do you have to do? You see the people cocking back not the hammer, but I don't know what the upper receiver, I guess you call it.
Yeah.
So how would you do it? How does that go in the difference? So you will put the magazine in, right?
Right.
You put the magazine in and then cock the top part back and then.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, you put your magazine in there and you rack it back. And the biggest mistake, I mean, this is pretty for the new guy out there, but the biggest mistake usually is that people push it back and then they ride it forward. It's kind of like a slingshot. You know, you kind of like let the pistol do his job and come forward. Usually, what happened is that when you insert that magazine, which I have someplace around here, you know, obviously, when you insert the magazine. This is the magazine that I have right here, and this is actually my carry gun. That's why it has rounds, but it's right here. That round will be, you know, with chamber, and again, your gun will be ready to fire. You get what I'm saying? Now, if I have a holster, so the moment that I chamber my gun, I put it back in my holster, and now that gun is protected because, like I say, you see, that's safety right there, right?
For some people, some people are afraid of their gun going off by mistake, and they're afraid of that. But I see that with that holster, there's a lot of protection and safety just by getting that holster.
Well, you know, it's not. Some people are, but primarily it's because a lot of people haven't taken training, and a lot of people haven't done anything like this. So, you know, when you never done any of this kind of stuff, it's actually scary, man. This guns could be scary if you don't know what's going on here, right? If you're a new guy and I give you and I say, here, hold this rifle for me, you'll be like, whoa, you know, I'm scared, you know, like, what am I touching here? You know
it has happened to me. My brother, who has a firearm, he had a firearm permit in New Jersey. He bought it legally, everything, and he has his firearm, and I didn't want to touch the firearm. Right. Because, you know, it's a firearm. You always hear, oh, you don't want your fingerprints on the firearm or all this and the TV shows and whatnot. Now, the revolver, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit simpler for maybe a woman or maybe a guy that wants something simpler. What is the advantages of the revolver in simplicity wise?
Well, I mean, and I have disagreed with some of those statements. Like, I don't think it's as simple as people make it seem, and not actually. And again, you know, some people disagree. There's a lot of personal opinions in here, right? I have shot a lot of revolvers in my life. This one actually belongs to my little brother.
Okay.
And this is a 642 Smith and Wesson.
And what does it shoot? What does that shoot? What does that shoot? 38?
It shoots 38, right? 38 special, which you see, I don't even know what kind of rounds he had in this thing, but as you can see this right here.
Yeah, I see it. Perfect.
But you see that round is very different because it's actually in the inside. I've never even seen this.
It doesn't even look like it has a round there.
No, because usually a round, this is a 9mm, a round has that tip right there, right? So again, I don't know what rounds he's using. He came by the house and he's like, hey, I'm gonna put my gun in your safe. And I said, okay. And now, you know, we're making this video, so I took it out. But the thing about a revolver is like you said it right. It's very easy. You know, like you release that cylinder, you put rounds in the cylinder, and you close it, and I mean, you're ready to go. I mean, what else? You know, you got 6 rounds. Obviously, some people say, well, for home defense, it's not really great because you're losing rounds. Usually, you don't have a rail. There's some revolvers that have rails, but typically they don't, and things like that. But for concealed carry, they're really nice. You know, I like him, and it works fine. My only concern about these guns is me personally when I've shot in a gun like this. This is the 642 lightweight. Are so lightweight and so easy to shoot, but at the same time they kick a lot. So you won't have fun shooting this gun.
You will not. No? Oh.
No. So if you take a gun like this, that is, you know, a Glock 17 that looks really big and all that, you could shoot a couple hundred rounds and have a great time. But to me, in my personal opinion, when these guns are really not so much fun. They kick a lot. They do after, like, you know, 50 rounds, you're going to feel it. So the problem with that is that when you have a gun that you don't enjoy to shoot, then you don't get good at it.
That makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense.
So if you have a motorcycle that you really enjoy to ride and you ride it every day, you know, eventually you're going to get really good at it. But if you don't like it, it may be an issue. So again, you know, I always consider little revolvers like this to be something, because look how small this thing is. When you shoot it, you're going to feel it. I always consider this to be more of an experience shooter. You
Okay.
know, in my opinion. But again, that's just my opinion.
And there are
But
other sizes of revolver. For example, there's one that I really like, and the day I buy a gun, I'm gonna buy one of them. Is the
Mhm.
Smith and Wesson 686 7-shot. I like that
Yep.
revolver. Yeah, it's a nice it's a bigger frame revolver. It does
Mhm.
fire. Is able to fire 357 Magnum and 357. So it's a little bit of what they called in the gun world a little bit of a hotter load, but the revolver is
Mhm.
a bit bigger, so it might handle the recoil. Well, I've seen videos where people say that it shoots really nice. So,
Yeah.
but that's it. Mhm.
Here's the thing that I want to mention. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Bigger revolvers hold it a lot easier than little ones. But the thing about a lot of people, and again, you know, it's just my personal opinion. But the thing about this compared to this that a lot of people like, look at these two choices for concealed carry. But as you can see, it's so simple for people to, you know, put some rounds and close it
And then ready to
versus
shoot.
actually, you know, putting a magazine, racking the slide, and doing all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I can see why some people look at a little revolver like this and be
Yeah.
like, oh man, it's so easy. And it is easy. I'm not saying it's not, but just know that, in my opinion, some of those little revolvers are not as easy to shoot as people may think. You get what I'm saying? You're gonna have to put some time in the range, and you're gonna have to master. And remember, little revolvers like this are for close, very close distance.
Okay.
So we got to keep that in mind as well.
Great. There's not one topic here that we didn't cover on this video. Whoever saw this video from the beginning to the end knows exactly, or might know has a great idea of what they are going to have to get. Again, it's because of the atmosphere that the United States has found itself in. We are heading into an election, November 3rd, which is going to be very contested. And knowing the way that these people react, if Mr. Trump, which I believe he's going to get reelected, if Donald Trump, let me say it like this, when Donald Trump gets reelected, there might be some type of, social unrest, because these people they're not logical human beings. They're irrational. And let's say it, they're evil human beings. A lot of these people are evil human beings because they want to destroy businesses and want to kill people, et cetera, et cetera. So it's in your best interest, and the way that the Second Amendment is being attacked, that you make a choice for yourself, and do go and follow through with getting some training, finding a reputable gun store, and maybe following Jarhead on his channel to see what he's talking about and the weapons that might be recommended, and get just educated in general because of the crazy atmosphere that the United States is living through, and just be ready. We never know. I know those guys in Missouri didn't know that that day they were gonna have to step out the guy even came out without shoes. He was probably, who knows, probably watching TV, and he sees that there's people breaking down his door to his mansion, and he has to go and defend himself and his family. And hopefully we won't find ourselves in that situation, but if that situation's come, we'll be ready. Fabian, I want to give the floor to you. What message do you have for us? What message do you have for America? What message do you have for the people listening right now? And we'll close it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this because I know you're a good believer in Christ. All those things that we talked about are tools. This is just tools. We got to remember that this are just tools that we could use.
Mm-hmm.
Our protector is a good Lord and Savior.
Amen.
So I think David said, "Prepare my hands for combat" or something like that. But as we buy these guns in order to protect our family and things like that, remember to be in prayers, because this is just tools.
Amen.
God Almighty, He is our protector, our rock, our defender, our high tower. I mean, we could go about this all day long. So a lot of times people say, because at the end of my videos I said God is in control, and people said things like, "Well, don't you trust in God?" And I always think to myself, well, God made a brain and put it in my,
Exactly.
give me the knowledge for me to make the right decisions for my family, right? I do trust in God, and I am in prayer. And it's okay if you're a Christian man or lady. It's okay for you to get a gun to protect yourself and to protect your family. Don't let anybody shame you or anything like that. There's nowhere in the Bible that says that God is okay with somebody murdering your son. It's okay. Just keep your eyes on the Lord, and there's some tools that could help you out. But remember, He is our protector.
Amen. Fabian, thank you so much, man. This is like, there's some things in life that you never imagined that are going to happen a couple down the years. Never in my life did I imagine a couple years back. I was looking at your YouTube channel that in 2020, I will be doing a show with you or recording an episode. But God knows everything, and God is in control, right? Thank you so much for the people who share the channel. Go to Fabian's channel, Jarhead6. Go. I'm gonna be leaving links down in the comments down below. Check that out. Go to his channel, subscribe. Go show him some love. I'm not sure if he's selling something over there, but whatever he's selling, help a brother out. And it's very important for the people that share our message to support, again, my message, conservative dollars. Support the people that are sharing your message. Make sure that when you waste your money, when you use your money, you're using it to support our cause. God bless. Godspeed. Me, Valentine. I am out.